Okay guys, what is up? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link in the description to that, also at the top of the chat. Join discussions, share ideas. You can find out more updates regarding Elevating Traders. I share ideas there as well. So if you do want to join the community, make sure you do check it out. Link in the description to that. But guys, welcome back. Hope everyone is well. What is up, Julius? Welcome to the stream. What is up, Ahmed? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're good. So as always, we'll go through the dollar side of things first. DXY, USD majors, gold, silver. We'll take a look at all of that. Indices as well, we'll go through as well. Been some interesting moves with some of them, so we'll go through that in detail. Of course, any other requests, any other pairs you want me to take a look at, drop it down in the chat, and of course I will take a look. Of course, let me know any time frames you're looking to work on as well. What's up, Brian? Good morning. Hope you are well. So first thing is first, the DXY. So not much has happened since we last spoke. Yeah, the dollar's more or less still in the same position. I was speaking a lot about the break above that resistance level. And yeah, we were holding as support. I mean, we still are holding it as support, so nothing's really changed in that regard. Dropping to the 4-hour chart, we haven't really ripped away, which is the key thing. We did see a lot of momentum on Monday, and since then, it's just been really, really flat. So it's not really a strong sign that the buyers are really coming back into the market. Otherwise, we probably would have made a move to the upside by now. We saw that initial momentum and price kind of stagnated and we're looking very sideways. And as a whole, price action here is just very, very corrective. Not really seeing much momentum to the upside. So I do think eventually we're probably going to see the dollar roll over back to these lows and further. Whether we're going to roll from here or we're going to push up maybe a couple more times and then roll over, that's of course difficult to say. But I would expect us to push back these lows. My expectation is very much still that all this momentum here on the left is still alive and well. The market's kind of correcting itself and about to roll over. If we do crack through support here at 103,800, so if we do break through the low here, then I'm expecting us to just push back into the low. So there might be some nice break and retest opportunities or breakout opportunities beyond that point to trade the dollar back into the low, maybe buy euro up or buy pound USD up, depends on the market you're looking to focus on. But yeah, had that initial momentum. Looks like this kind of area supply is holding very well. So probably didn't see a push back into support at this point. We just didn't really have the momentum to break through. So dollar not looking too hot right now. Again, I still do have those levels on the daily chart, which I would like price to pull back into. And we still could do that. So I'm still going to keep one eye on these two levels, because if we do get there, I do think shorts will look good, and we're looking at some really impressive swings back into the lows and potentially further as well. I'm still overall bearish on the dollar. I've just been expecting a bit of a pullback, and we have seen a bit of that, but it looks like we're starting to really, really struggle now with the USD. In terms of Euro USD, so of course we're kind of seeing the same situation really as well, which is we broke through support here on the left. Price is holding on to that as resistance. I'm still looking at a deeper retracement for euro. I still do like these levels here on the daily chart, prior resistance there on the left, and also this area here as well. Looks really, really good for some buys. And I was looking for price to respect this price support, turn resistance, and use that as resistance for a push back down. So that's very much be my expectation for Euro USD. And we have seen a bit of a reaction. Nice push down initially on Monday, then Tuesday we got a bit of follow through. But again, looks like support is holding, and overall the market's finding it really, really difficult trying to see some downside. So we might see Euro push back up again after all of this rejection. Might see Euro push back into the zone, and we'll see what price can do, whether we respect it again and potentially have a bit of a sell, or we break straight through. In that case, euro is looking pretty bullish, and we're expecting a push back into the swing high at that point, a break above 1.05, I would be very, very bullish on euro, and this would then be the higher low, and then we're looking at another higher high, or at least a test of the prior high. So Euro USD kind of giving us the same information as the dollar. We've seen a move down, just very, very corrective, very fatiguing. Haven't really seen much momentum come into the market. So if this keeps up, we're probably going to push to the upside. We do have some resistance to break first, and if we can break through that, then you're looking at a very bullish euro. And if, of course, we can break through the dollar support level, you'll be looking at a very bearish USD. Going over to pound USD, same situation as well. Seen a bit of downside, but overall the market's still very, very flat over here. Not a lot to take here from price action on pound USD. Jump to the daily chart, just a lot of consolidation. I do have some really nice levels below, which I would like to see a retest of. So you got 1.28 there, 1.27. Both really nice confluences for some longs. Of course, we had a lovely bullish trend for a while. We've broken through some structure on the left here, and has left behind some really nice places for a buy. So I do like the upside here for pound. Just need to see the pullback really. And of course, with all that consolidation, I was kind of hoping we'll break the downside, find support, and then push up. But we'll see. I don't really have too much to say about pound USD. The price action is pretty much horrendous right now, so I wouldn't really be looking for any opportunities within this unless you're just looking to buy low and sell high. You might find some nice opportunities up there and down there. Otherwise, I would avoid trading the middle of that because there's just a lot of speculation, not a lot of consistency in the price action, apart from it being ranging. So yeah, I would avoid that with pound USD. Still bullish, still looking at the same setups, just no kind of clear opportunity just yet. In terms of dollar CAD, we were very bullish at one point at the start of the week, but yesterday we came crashing back down, and price rejected resistance on the low time frames very well. We have come back into support, so it's going to be interesting to see what price does now with dollar CAD. Do we respect support again, or do we break through? I've been particularly bearish with dollar CAD, looking for a big swing to the downside after coming into that weekly level. Actually, if we go to the monthly, probably see it better. Right at the top of these wicks here, we came back into these areas, and you can see we respected it again. So I've been looking for a bit of retracement for dollar CAD to come back into resistance here, come back and retest support. So that's kind of what I've been looking for price to do. It's been taking its time, but it does look like it's slowly coming into play. I don't really have an opportunity to trade it just yet because, of course, we're coming into some heavy support right now. We've tested this on numerous occasions, and it's held very, very well. So again, if dollar CAD does break to the downside, I'm kind of waiting for price to clear support first, and then, wrong tool, clear support first, and then I'll look for some opportunities for a pullback and continuations. At the moment, nothing just yet. I know it was a very strong move to the downside yesterday, really nice move, but we're just coming back into support again where we could have another push to the upside. So the shorts are still pretty much premature for now. Aussie dollar, we've seen some strength for Aussie come back into the market, NZD come back into the market. Overall for Aussie dollar, it's still very, very sideways behavior, not a lot of clarity. Weekly chart as well, not really showing us a lot of consistency there. So I'm not very eager to trade Aussie dollar just because it's a bit more choppy. One key note though is that we did break back above this level here, and we did it very aggressively as well. So I wonder, was this a bit of a fake out to potentially put another higher low in and potentially see another push back into resistance up there, maybe some new highs as well. I'm not really looking to buy Aussie dollar until we can clear the highs here first, because if we can clear the highs there, then that tells me that there's probably a trend in play now. Something like this. So we got the push, pull back, more high lows, and then maybe a buy. Something like that could look good in a few days or a few weeks. So something like that could look like a nice buy. But the key thing is with Aussie dollar, we did break back above that support level. So I would suggest on the lower time frames, there could be a nice trade back into the high there. If you can get a pullback that looks something like this, that could be a nice little trade back into the high, because that's your fake out. And now price is broken well back into the range, back into support level. So now that will be turn support again. So a retest of that would give you a good chance of catching some nice buys. And then you've got resistance just above you, which would make sense to take some profits on. We could go a lot higher as well, but depends how aggressive you want to be with the trade. But yeah, Aussie dollar, strong break to the downside, a lot of momentum, all of that completely reversed. So we probably will see a push at least back into resistance there, 0.632. And the USD, same situation here as well. Did break to the downside out of that consolidation. I said some retests will look good here on the retest of that level. But yeah, price just came crashing through. There's a slight rejection on the hourly chart, but that just did not respect at all. Next candle just broke straight above. I think that was during the Asian session, yeah, 2 a.m. And the market has just been flying since then. So that was a failed break and retest there for the USD. And again, is that potentially another high low printed? We've got one over there, second over there. Is price printing a third one? I would say we do kind of have the characteristics of it, where we've impulsed down, impulse back up. So I would suggest something like this for the USD could actually be a decent buy opportunity. Again, at least a push back into resistance. If everything goes well, possibly a push back to the high there. I think that's still a bit of a long shot for a target, but if you can secure some profits here, you can leave some positions to run, see if you can hit those bigger targets. There's nothing wrong in doing that, but I'm looking at these lows here. Really strong push down, strong push back up, strong push down, strong push back up, another strong push back down, big wick there, another strong push back up. This is looking like a characteristic of a higher low forming, and now that we've got some support again, that could be a nice retest for a long, and perhaps a push back to the high there at 0.58300-ish. So that's something I will look at there for the USD. In terms of gold, so gold being still bullish, has it? Yeah, still more or less bullish. I mean, yesterday it was down on the day actually. We did have a bit of retracement, but overall the market's still pretty bullish. I still like the possibility for the retest of the high here. It's been a very healthy breakout, so if I can have a nice long corrective pullback into that area, that would be a nice opportunity for a swing position, perhaps back into the high at 31.50, maybe even a lot further than that. At the moment, in terms of gold, if we scale to the lower time frames, looks like we're coming back into some consolidation here on the left where price tapped into strong reaction. We're back there again. Now's not actually a bad time for a short, but again, when you're looking to short gold in this current climate context of the market, the fact that we're bullish on pretty much all the higher time frames, you want to keep it short and sweet and not overstay your welcome. So this does look like a nice play for a short, but as soon as you start coming back to some areas down here, look and take some partials or some profits or trade a stop loss. And of course, if price does look like it's about to turn, you probably want to exit that trade. Because if you do clear the resistance here, so price breaks above the high there, then most likely we're just going to continue back to the high at 31.47 there. So if you're looking for some buys, I would wait for resistance to break here. You can even buy on the breakout. It's not really the worst idea for gold. The breakouts have worked out pretty well in these conditions. A strong break of that level there probably would take us back to the high, so buys look good. For now, since we're holding that area pretty well, I do like the shorts back into 31.20, 31.18 we'll call it. We could go a lot further as well. Potentially this could be the start of the retracement. But again, you want to be a bit more conservative when you are shorting gold in these conditions here. Because gold can be unforgiving at times, especially to the sellers. So gold shorts are actually in a nice place. A bit more aggressive trades, counter trend, so take that into consideration. But it's in a nice area as long as price can hold that consolidation there. You can see we had that slight pause there with that bullish candle on the 4-hour chart, and then of course all that momentum came through. We're now back there again. So as long as price can respect that, it's a nice place for a short and a nice place to put a stop loss above as well. In terms of silver did see a bit more downside. I was trailed out of the longs for this one. Was it yesterday? No, it was a Monday. I was trying out the longs for this on a Monday. I've been debating, looking for some re-entries. Nothing kind of clean has set up just for me. I was looking at the retest of the consolidation here. It kind of broke below, so I didn't really like that bearish candle on the 4-hour chart, which just kind of put me off the trade. I like the wicks that we had previously. If this candle was just a big wick, I probably would have entered the trade. I mean, it's looking pretty bullish now, but I'm just not a big fan of the entry right now, especially in the 4-hour chart. 8-hour, maybe 8-hour could look better in about 3.5 hours time. Lower time frames, wasn't really a fan either. So I've stayed out of silver. I'm still very bullish on it. I do think price is just on its way back to the high. I'm kind of hoping we might pull back a little bit deeper again, possibly back for another retest of the high on the left here, which is kind of what I was hoping for yesterday as well. So this is kind of where I bought from last time. If we can come back and retest that, that would be great. Have a similar stop loss with some similar targets as well. So yeah, silver looking bullish. It would be nice to see something like this happen. One more sell, test around 13.2, 13.3, then see if I can swing it back to the highs. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD side of things. Darkashon, good morning. Hope you're well. Orca price action on GJ. Yeah, I did exit my pound yen position. I'll go through that in a second. Still very short bias on it on the higher time frames, but wasn't a fan of how the yen was moving, so I did close at break even. But I am looking to see if I can jump back in, but not trying to jump the gun a little bit. But I will go through GJ. Left the gap on the 5-minute time frame. Now going to fill that. No clear direction yet. Okay, I'll take a look at the 5-minute as well. Nas a bit bearish this morning, expecting a reverse. See more upside and probably a fall after Trump's speech. Yep, we might see some movement there. Definitely need to keep an eye on that. What's up, Lighter? Welcome to the stream. Here to Peekaboo. All right, take care, man. Have a good one. BTC shorts, yes, we'll take a look at as well, no problem. Eric, JPY pairs looks good. To upside, it seems. Yeah, yen had some really strong rejection. We'll take a look at the yen basket as well. But I did end up closing my yen position yesterday. Wasn't really liking how it was moving. But yeah, we'll go through that. No problem, Sultan. Happy to help. Happy to help. If you are enjoying the streams, by the way, please be sure to smash the like button. It does really help out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That helps out as well. And of course, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But I do really appreciate all the likes, guys. So yeah, we'll take a look at pound yen. So I did end up closing that position yesterday. I entered roughly around here when that candle opened up with the gap. And I closed it somewhere around there as well. So pretty much break even. We did have a nice push to the downside. I thought, okay, momentum was coming in. But I was keeping an eye on the yen basket, which was at a very, very awkward price point. And I didn't want to see any rejections at that level. And I'll go show you now. And we did see some rejections. So I decided, okay, no confident breakout here. I'm just going to close the trade because price, of course, had that consolidation a while ago. We broke to the downside, had a bit of a retest there, dropped to the downside, create some new lows, and then price pulled back up again, and now it's coming back to retest a similar region. So again, you've got the support there taken across as resistance. You can see Monday's candle, big wick to the upside, pull back. So that was a big red flag on Monday. And then Tuesday, yesterday, again, big wick to the upside, pull back as well, close below. So I've got two really big exaggerated wicks on the daily chart, piercing into that zone and respecting it. And if we look to the left as well, it's actually a much bigger zone in general. You can see on the left here on the daily chart, multiple wicks to the upside, did start a pretty big bearish move, rejection over there as well, and now we're spiking into that zone as well. So generally, this 6,800 level has been a very critical level for the yen basket in recent weeks. If we were to break above that, I do believe, okay, the yen pairs are ready to start seeing some upside, or at least a push back into resistance again. So that would be a very bullish signal, a break above this level. Of course, if we do continue to reject, we could see the yen tumble over and see a bigger retracement, which at the moment time is looking a little bit more likely. The fact that price is still respecting that level well. Yesterday, candle, big wick to the upside. Again, if the yen basket is going to fall, that means yen's going to be weak. And as someone who is shorting pound yen, I want yen to be strong. So if yen's going to be weak, it's going to be very difficult for pound yen to fall in my favor. So I have to watch out for that. But yeah, really strong rejections yesterday. Again, dropping to the lower time frames as well. Price had some type of break to the upside. So that's when yen was looking a little bit strong, and we had a nice close on the 4-hour chart on pound yen. But essentially, price respected it and rolled back over. So going over to pound yen, we did have a nice push in the afternoon, or that's kind of as the stream ended, price started to drop quite nicely actually. But yeah, we pushed back up, respected support, some areas down there on the left, and on the daily chart here for pound yen, we had a really nasty wick back into this zone here. So as we can see, prior resistance on the left here, lovely wicks there, nice push to the downside, held price really well. We then broke through the level a few weeks back, nice little retest, another continuation. Now we've pushed back into the same zone. And again, Monday's candle, bit of a wick into that level, and then Tuesday's candle, much bigger wick into that level, and we pull back above. So this area here for pound yen is definitely holding as support, 192.5. I was hoping price would just see momentum and go and break through the level, but after I saw Tuesday starting to reject that level, and of course after seeing the yen basket reject that level as well, those are two red flags for me shorting pound yen. Perhaps we might see a bit of a move to the upside first before we do come down. Again, my expectation for pound yen is still very much, we've got the major swing highs here, one over there, there's your swing low, there's your next swing high, there's your next swing low. I'm looking for a lower high. I do think this still could be the lower high in the market, and we're still getting ready for a push to the downside. I'm looking at the weekly chart as well. You can see the weekly is also providing a lot of wicks to the upside. So I can tell that from a weekly standpoint, momentum is dying down to the upside, and I do think we're likely to roll over. But maybe we want to have one more stab to the upside, another push to the upside. So I don't want to jump in too early, but as we can see, support is still holding. So I need price to kind of push away from this noise first before I do jump back into anything, or break through it, and then I'll start to look for some opportunities underneath, perhaps a retest somewhere. That will be the much more safer entry. Trying to enter up here is just a bit more riskier because you've got support below you. There is this level in the lower time frames which looks like price is holding onto pretty well. Maybe we do get a move to the downside from that area, but as I suggested, we've got some wicks on the daily time frame to deal with. It makes it a little bit awkward. And when price is in an awkward situation, the best thing from my experience is just to do nothing. You only want to take trades where it's quite clear what you expect the market to do. Of course, you're not going to win every trade, but at least you've got some real strong clarity or confidence that the market is likely to do something. When you've got contradicting signals, yeah, you don't really want to do anything at that point. But again, kind of respecting resistance there, but I'm not really convinced at the moment. If I drop to the 5-minute chart, 5-minute chart, and we're coming back into this area, which is bearish territory. Might see a bit of a reaction from there, but yeah, I'm not too sure how far of one, because I'm also looking at this as potentially a higher low in comparison to the swing low here as well. Swing high, this looks like potentially another higher low is formed, and I wouldn't be surprised if we just keep pushing back to highs at that point. So I wouldn't be so convinced about selling pound yen either on the lower time frames. I know we're coming back to test a nice little area there, might give us a bit of a reaction, but I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to push through. So yeah, altogether, I don't really have much clarity. I know I want to short pound yen, just in terms of the timings. I don't think it's quite ready yet. Okay, so I'll go through BTC, and then we'll probably just go through a bunch of the yen pairs all together. Asim, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Good morning, good morning. Insights on NAS. Okay, I will take a look at NAS ourselves. We're going to look at the indices. And I completely forgot it, but yeah, I'll go through NAS. First, let me take a look at BTC. Ooh, I did not see that. Huge wick to the downside there. What happened there? Is that the same on Ethereum? No. What happened with Bitcoin? Was that the last 4-hour candle? Let me drop to the hourly time frame. Yeah, 6 a.m. this morning. Big spike to the downside. Yeah, not too sure what happened there. Is that on different brokerage as well? No. It's not here on Coinbase. Not there on Binance either. Anyway, not too sure what that is, but yeah, very weird. Anyway, so BTC short. It's still doing a good job at respecting this trend line here. Very consistent with the lower highs. I'm still very much expecting a push back into 72, 73K, which is the prior high here, which we're kind of just hovering above at the moment. In terms of getting into a short, I suggested yesterday waiting for a push back into this range as a nice place to look for a reaction. I'm not a big fan of the daily close that we had yesterday. It was a pretty strong close. But I do like this area because, again, you can see the consolidation there on the daily chart, doji, more or less, and then a strong push to the downside. So I do think that will at least give us a reaction. Whether it will give us the swing all the way back to that low, that's a different question. But it'll probably give us a reaction where we could look to either lock in some gains, trade a stop loss, potentially a swing back into support here. That could be a nice target to have. Or even just the range low here, to be honest, around the 83K. I know it's not a particularly big range, but Bitcoin, I'm not really a big fan of the price action. I'm still very, very corrective on our way down. It's not like we're seeing heavy selling pressure, so I'd watch out for that. But the trend line has held price really well, so as long as that continues, then I would still expect price to bleed over. And yeah, I like the range there, so I would wait for price to tap into that, see what type of price action we can get. If things look good, I think shorts back into around 83,700 look good, and maybe a secondary target 81,600 as well. And if you want to be very optimistic, you've got some lows down there, and of course you've got the 72K level there as well. But yeah, BTC shorts, I would still wait for us to push a little bit higher. Not quite in the area I would want to short that. In terms of NAS, so NAS, we had another bullish day yesterday. Of course, we pointed out that on Monday, price respected support very well here. So as you can see, price support closed into it, nice wick through the level, price push back up. So it does look like support is holding there, but I am still pretty bearish with NAS. Very strong close in the week. I do think we can still see some more downside back into here roughly. Lovely resistance and support on the weekly chart. I think we could be slowly working our way towards that area. Now it's just a question, how much retracement do we see? How much of a pullback do we see before we get there? I think as long as price stays below this swing high, then the odds of price getting back to 18,400, 18,500 is still pretty high. So I do not want to see price take out this high here. So now where can we sell from that makes sense? Well, initially, I like this level here as well. I pointed this out yesterday. A nice place for a short, got some price support, big strong move to the upside. That's now turned resistance. Of course, we broke through there, no prior retest as well, so it's still a relatively fresh level. And of course, this morning, or was that last night? Yeah, last night, Nice wick there on the 4-hour chart. We have seen some nice downside. So I think shorts still look good from this area. We may still have another push to the upside maybe this afternoon. And if you see some rejection, that could be a nice short back into this level here on the daily chart. I know it's not a big range, but you have to take in consideration what the market is doing. Like I said, I do think we can get there, but we've got this level to break through. So it might be a situation where you catch a short in the lower time frames up there, ride it back into support, lock and gain, see what price does. If we do bounce, close the trade, or if we do see momentum and price rip straight through, something like this, then you can hold onto that position and trail stops and maybe target the low here, or at least the low there. So it depends how aggressive you want to be with your targets and what the risk reward you're looking for is. But in terms of a location for a short, I really do like this level. And I also do like this kind of choppy corrective market here, because this is what we were kind of chopping into before the market plummeted and we saw all that momentum. So if price can come back to revisit that, we could see some more sellers step back into the market and see another rejection there. So 19,700 look good, 19,500 looks good as well. But yeah, I'm still pretty bearish on the NAS for now. And still looking for a push into some support below us. But we have held support here pretty well, so being cautious of that, because we could still potentially double bottom here and turn around, so we have to be careful of that. But yeah, coming into a nice level of resistance, so shorts look good. If I have a quick look at S&P before I go through the yen pairs. So S&P, again, respected support there too. Pretty well on Monday as well. Again, respect to the 200 moving average last week pretty well, which was the catalyst for that sell. We also came back to respect support, turn resistance, and we had a really nice rejection from that. So again, I'm expecting more downside for S&P, but I do not want to see price. If I go back to the daily chart, I do not want to see price take out this high here. If price takes out that high, that would be a bullish signal for me. And yeah, I'll be expecting something like that back to highs. As of now, we haven't done that yet, so I'm still pretty bearish. I did say that this low here could be a nice place for a short. Didn't really see too much reaction from it. We did spike into it a few times, and we did see a bit of downside in fairness, but nothing crazy. So if it drops the lower time frames, there was a couple nice reactions. Nice short there, but it didn't continue all the way back to the low. Now we're actually trading above it, so I wouldn't be looking to sell from that anymore. I would wait to see if the S&P can get back to this consolidation now, which is 5680, 5700 roughly. Again, nice kind of pause there in the market, strong drop to the downside. That could be a really nice place for a short. And altogether, the way that S&P is moving to the upside is very, very corrective as well, which is a strong sign that this is probably just a temporary move for price to retrace before continuing in its bearish direction here. And that would be a nice place for a short, potentially all the way back to the low there as well. So yeah, still pretty bearish on the S&P, pretty bearish on the NAS. A couple of levels to look at for some shorts. But again, the most important thing is to see how price reacts with them. If price is very bullish and we're just seeing big candles breaking through, and then of course the shorts aren't looking good there. But if we can see some wicks, reactions, then there could be some nice confirmations. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the S&P NAS for now. I'll go through some of the yen pairs. Yes, I'll take a look at US 30 whilst I'm at it as well, Ahmed. Ben, what's up? Holding any position going into tariff announcement tonight? Might failing wake up the dollar. No, I just closed. Well, I still do have Aussie CHF, but that looks like I might be trailed out soon. I did close my pound yen position yesterday, more or less around break even. I wasn't really feeling how the yen was looking. I'll go through some of the yen pairs in a moment. But I only have Aussie CHF at the moment, which is very close to trailing me out of a trade. Did I accidentally? Oh, I accidentally cleared it. But my trading stop loss is just above the high here. So I might be trailed out. The original position was on this candle. Stops above the high, more or less around there, and I've been trading since then. So I do have some few positions remaining on this short trade, and my trail stop loss is just above the high there. So I might be trailed out pretty soon. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe price turns around and saves me, but it looks like we found support here very, very well. So, and we picked up momentum too, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do get trailed out. But that's my only position at the moment. I was trailed out of silver on Monday. Was it Monday? Yeah, Monday this week here. I was in a long position that trailed me out there, more or less around break even as well. And then GJ, I was short on this one as well, but I closed the trade. Wasn't liking how the yen was moving, so I'm gonna wait to see if I can get some re-entries later on. But yeah, hopefully we do see some momentum. Momentum's always trader's best friend. Of course, if it's in your direction, that is. But no one likes a market that's just moving sideways. So hopefully we do see some momentum there. I'll be keeping a close eye to see how the market reacts. Dollar's been very, very flat as well, so maybe this one wakes up, to be honest. Again, I've been looking at some bigger pullbacks for the dollar, but we've just been looking so tired, and the market's really struggled to push up. So I wonder if it's going to top out now and might just kind of roll over back into the lows. And to be honest, I've been looking a lot at this support level. So prior resistance turned support there. We did respect it pretty well on Monday, but we just haven't seen that momentum kick in. Maybe you might see it this afternoon. Maybe. Or maybe we see USD weakness this afternoon. We'll have to wait and see. But altogether, the dollar price action is just a little bit right now. So not really looking to jump into any USD pairs apart from dollar CHF. Dollar CHF I do like. We kind of picked up momentum slowly. We haven't broke resistance yet, so I kind of still need to wait for that to happen before this actually becomes a possibility of a trade. But it does look like to me price has formed a bit of a low here, and we could be looking to turn around and see some upside. The key thing for that would be a strong break of this resistance, and then that will tell me, okay, dollar buyers are back in town. Dollar CHF has probably formed the bottom here. Pullbacks, corrections look good, and I'll be expecting price to come back and test some of these prior lows around here. So dollar CHF is something I'm looking at. Of course, at the moment we're still sideways, still respecting the range, and for all I know, we could respect the high and come right back down again. So I need to be a bit patient. But yeah, dollar CHF buys is actually not too far away from forming. Euro USD, I've been looking for some pullbacks for this one. This one's still quite far away, so not really looking at Euro right now. These are the two levels I do like a lot, which we're nowhere near. Pound USD, I like the longs there as well. Again, nowhere near there either. We're kind of very flat right now. So yeah, kind of just waiting to see how things develop with the dollar. Don't really have any positions regarding USD, but hopefully I might be able to find some positions soon. Okay, long ends the USD from 0.56512. Should I hold this till NFP or any areas to add position? Okay, let me have a look. So ends the USD had a really nice move yesterday. To be honest, it does look like potentially another higher low is forming, where it had another spike to the downside. So we had one stab here, price recovered, another big stab to the downside, recovered, another stab to the downside. So it looks to me like price is forming another higher low, and there's probably a nice trend line running through the market there as well. So it looks to me that price has formed another higher low there, and the fact that we've recovered this support level very well as well, to me it kind of looks like an inverse head and shoulder pattern. So you've got the left head and possible right shoulder, and that could be a nice buy back into the high if the trend does continue. So I think buys look really good. Where's your entry? 0.56 512. Okay, your entry is right on the wick there. Okay, so I mean the beauty of having an entry all the way right at the low is that you can give that trade a lot of room to play in. because I would imagine if you've gone to break even, you've got all that room for price to pull back into and potentially still head in your direction. So whatever your initial target was, I would stick by that. And normally when people ask me what should I target, what should I do with the trade, I always tell them respect the initial target of your trade, because you had that for a reason. If it was me in a long position, I would be looking to see if I can target the high there, but I probably would secure some profits around here, because that has definitely been an area where prices respected quite multiple times, and there's been a lot of wicks on the weekly chart there as well. If I go to the weekly quickly, you can see on the weekly chart numerous wicks as we do come back into this area. So I would be looking to take some profit there. But I would also leave positions to run, because I'm in a place where if a high low does form, I could ride this quite easily back to the high if that's the move the market wants to make. So I would definitely leave some positions to run, not necessarily till NFP. I'll leave it to run to the high there. I don't really mark my trades by news in terms of how long I should hold them for. I would expect you to hold through NFP if you're going to target the high there, but it does look like we've got the potential to keep going. GU chart looks broken. There's chop and there's that. Yeah, I agree as well. Pound USD looks horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. So I would not be looking to trade this one either. Again, pound USD is doing one or two things. It's ranging to potentially retrace, or it's ranging just to continue. It's 50-50 the way I see it, which way we actually move. I'm looking at the higher time frames to see if they can give me any information. Higher time frames are printing a lot of wicks here. This is the weekly chart. So we have had a tough time trying to sustain price around this 1.295 area. So perhaps we have another stab at trying to break through that again, but maybe by the end of the week we print another wick. Then that will probably give us the sign that, okay, maybe price does roll over. But again, it's still very, very flat. Not a lot of information there as well. So yeah, pound USD is not looking very tradable at the moment. I mean, we're seeing some momentum come in now. Is that pound strength or is that USD weakness? Maybe a bit of both. USD is pushing down there a little bit. What the pound pair is doing. Pound yen pushing up a little bit. Pound CAD, what we saying? Okay, that's pushing up a lot. Pound Aussie, what we doing? Pushing up a little bit there. Pound NZD, a little bit there. So maybe a bit of pound strength, a bit of USD weakness, but pound is starting to push now. Maybe you've got the breakout. Maybe. Looks like a CHF chart. Yeah, it does look like a CHF chart. Can we look at oil and DAX? Of course we can. So oil's been pretty bullish since we last spoke. Strong move to the upside there. Looks like that daily or weekly support level held pretty well. So as we can see, take this across, a few wicks into that zone, a couple more recently, and that's been the support for that bullish move. At the moment, we have come back into some resistance. Looking to the left here, we've seen a lot of bodies in this area, and now we're coming back into that level. So we're coming back into some resistance, which it's not necessarily a big level where I'll base a trade from. But it's definitely enough to at least probably see price react, at least probably have a pullback, even if it is still going to break to the upside. So with oil, I would say this is now coming back into bearish territory, where shorts might look good if you're looking to try and play like a counter trend move, perhaps back into this range here. Might be a nice short that does develop for a push back into that area. Overall, oil is just squeezing between a trend line and support, really. So that's the weekly support. That's your weekly trend line. And all price is doing is just squeezing between the two. So eventually we're going to get a big breakout. Whether it's to the upside or to the downside, I have no idea. We'll wait and see. But what I can see is that we're back at resistance. So naturally expecting a bit of a move down. We may even still push a little bit higher to actually test the trend line. So yeah, not necessarily looking to hold shorts from here for a big move, although it could happen. But in terms of where we're trading, it's a nice place for a short, and I've already seen price start to respect it a little bit. So I would wait for another push back to the high so I can get a stop loss above the level with a decent size, of course. And then you've got a nice little range here where we had a lot of momentum and price shot to the upside. So we might see price be drawn towards an area like this, and that could make for a nice target as well. So oil kind of just squeezing on the higher time frames, getting ready for a big breakout. At the moment, testing some nice resistance where I do think we can respect it a little bit and see some downside. So kind of a short-term bearish outlook for oil, but we'll see what the bigger move has in store. In terms of the DAX, this one last time I saw it was looking pretty bearish. Okay, we did pull back quite a lot though. We did pull back quite a lot. Looks like the channel is holding pretty well though. So let me see the daily chart. Okay, daily left a big wick. I mean, I'll probably even scrap the channel to be honest and just focus on this as a range. Support there, resistance up there. That's kind of how I'll deal with it. If I was looking to sell the DAX, I'll probably look at support around here for a short, or wait for some momentum through this level, and that would really confirm that on a bearish market. Then some pullbacks beyond that will look good, something like this, retest, so on and so forth. So that would be a nice trade. That would be at the point that, okay, the market is definitely bearish now. Well, not necessarily it's going to keep falling, but at least that bullish structure has completely broken, and we're seeing bearish structure at that point. I think shorts here look good. The only reason why I'm a little bit here is because we're kind of just very flat in general. So, you know, I wouldn't be looking for a massive swing from that area. I think we can at least see a reaction. So if I drop to the 4-hour chart, yeah, I do like that support level. Refine a little bit more. Let's say price kind of finds support down here. Maybe another push to the upside. I feel like that could be a nice place for a short. And we've got one high there. Where's the highlight tool? Where have you gone? There you go. So you've got the high over there, second high over there, perhaps a third one forms, and that gives us another swing there as well. Or like I said, wait for a strong break on the daily through support, and that'll probably open up some shorts as well later on. But I do see the DAX rolling over. I'm pretty bearish on this one. It looks like price to me is forming a bit of a top, so I wouldn't be looking to take any buys for now. If I go to the weekly chart, what we seeing? Not much in the weekly apart from we got some support here to watch out for, but I can see that price having a tough time at the highs there. So yeah, I do think that's a nice place to short from 22,800, and if we can break through that support below, it looks just as good as well, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit better, since we've got the break of support there too. But yeah, DAX I'm particularly bearish on as well for now. Bless, good morning, welcome to the stream, hope you're good. Let's go through some of the yen pairs that have been pretty interesting. So as a whole, I'm still pretty bearish on the yen pairs, but as I mentioned earlier, we're respecting that yen basket resistance level. So as you can see, price support there, spike 1, spike 2. Difficult for me to now predict price to break through this level, even though I do think it will eventually. But after we've rejected twice in the daily that heavily, there's probably a greater chance that we do see some downside first, even if we are going to break through later on. So I'm going to have to be a bit careful there. So looking at pairs like Euro Yen, I do think there's a big sell to be had for Euro Yen. I particularly like the weekly chart for Euro Yen as well, because we've got one high over here, second high over there. I'm looking at a third high being printed. I think the high has already been printed for the swing here. So that's our first swing into the low, second swing into the low, third swing, and I'm expecting a new push, at least back into support, but I do think it will break through. And I'm looking at the top already being formed. So if that is the high, if the top has already been formed, now I'm kind of just looking for pullbacks or opportunities in the low time frames to scale into a trade. You can already see that there's some support here that price seems to be hanging on to. And if you go to the daily chart, you'll see it a bit better. So that is the top there that I mentioned on the weekly chart. This is the support level that's making things awkward. If Euro Yen can see a strong close below that on the daily chart, I feel like that will be the catalyst to really get the ball rolling, and we'll probably see price have that big swing. So we've got one there, second one there, a third one there, and a push back into support. You can also see we're holding the 200 moving average pretty well. And again, generally the pattern I'm looking to trade is this head and shoulder pattern here. You got the left shoulder over there, the head over there. And as you can see, it's been holding resistance there pretty well too. We just about spiked into that high there too, coming back into that resistance. So I am looking at a pretty big bearish swing here for Euro Yen. And again, if it is a head and shoulder pattern that does really play out, you'd be expecting the break of the neckline and a big move. So that's why I'm quite eager with the yen pairs, because there's just so much downside opportunity. Sort of like my Aussie CHF trade, why I liked it a lot as well, is that if the trend continues, it could continue for a while because the higher time frames are positioned well and there was a current trend there. Euro Yen will position very well for a big swing. But first things first, we do have some support to contend with. If I drop to the 4-hour chart, you can see we're kind of just dancing on that level. It's been very, very sideways, so it's been difficult to kind of find a trade here. But again, if price does manage to break through this, I feel like that will be the catalyst for the trade. Then perhaps some retest for some entries could look good. And Bob's your uncle, you got a nice position there. Of course, trading is never as easy as that seems, but that's kind of what I'll be looking at. No problem, Ben. Take care, my man. We'll see you soon. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm waiting for Euro Yen as well. And I would expect us to swing it back into the low. So yeah, just staying patient. Pound Yen as well is also another yen pair which I like. Of course, I was shorting this one earlier. Oh, wrong one. I was shorting this one earlier as well. But yeah, it's just been a bit difficult. But I do think, again, that the high is formed on the week chart too. You've got one swing high there, second one there. I'm looking at a third one here. Again, with all the wicks there. On the weekly chart, you can see price running out of steam. So I do think we're likely to turn around. But we've spiked back into support. So it's been a bit awkward here. Prior resistance there, turn support. If I drop to the 4-hour chart, we are still holding on to this, but I'm not convinced. If you can break through this, then you're definitely looking at a bearish market there for Pound Yen. And probably some sells after that will look good. If things look good, I may take some entries off that level there. But I may reduce the risk on that trade. And then maybe once we get the break of this low, I might add some more in if I can get a retest. But I am still pretty bearish, not really interested in the buys. And in terms of the other yen pairs, so if you look at Aussie yen and New Zealand yen, these guys have retraced quite a lot, in fairness, because of course Aussie's been a little bit stronger today, New Zealand's been a bit stronger today. Overall, still kind of trading in this bearish channel. So as you can see, if I just drag that in a little bit, we're still trading this bearish channel, and the market has more or less come back to the high with respect to some support down the left as well. And I do think we can eventually roll over. But since we last spoke, price did find some support here on the daily chart and find it a little bit difficult to break through. I still think we will eventually. We formed a high over here. Nice swing to the downside. A second high over there, nice swing to the downside. I do think price is doing something similar and forming another swing high. And again, I'm expecting a nice swing back to the downside and potentially through support into the lows and continuing. I just don't want to see price break through the high here. So that will keep me bearish there for Aussie yen. I want to see a bit more rejection here though. I'm not as enthusiastic about shorting Aussie yen, doesn't look as clean. Pound yen and Euro yen, I've seen some nice bullish swings and now they're trading at some big highs. where they can really turn around and there's a lot of pips to catch. Aussie yen is another yen pair which I do expect to make a similar move, but just in a bit more of an awkward area. The market's already seeing a pretty bearish swing. We're a little bit more tired, so I'm not as keen to short Aussie yen, even though I'm expecting a similar move. But like I said, we're coming back into an interesting area here that could potentially give us a bit of a short. New Zealand yen, similar situation as well. Again, you can see on the daily chart, we are still finding support at this low here. But again, if you drop to the lower time frames, your price has this swing high there. Nice move to the downside, creating that low. Next swing high, next swing low. I do think as we pull back into this area, we could see perhaps another swing high form. Again, keep an eye on the rejection. There might be a nice swing high that forms, and that gives us the continuation back into the low. So that could be a nice little trade to keep an eye on for New Zealand yen as well. So yeah, pretty bearish on this one too. Looking for a big swing. Again, just doesn't look good as pound or euro yen. We've been trending to the downside for a while. This one again has a bit of a channel at play as well. So as you can see, resistance, resistance, resistance. As long as we keep respecting the up end of the channel, you expect price to roll over. I don't want to see price break through the high here. If price breaks through the high there, then we're probably going to get a much bigger pullback for New Zealand yen before selling off. As long as we respect those highs, potentially put another one in there, then you can bet that price will probably reach support down here and probably take out that wick there as well. So some nice shorts there for New Zealand yen to keep an eye out for. Just waiting for some rejection, probably in the 4-hour chart there. We're very, very corrective as we push up, so potentially the sell could be coming up sooner, later. Rather sooner than later. Yeah, that's what I meant. But yeah, we'll see how that does develop. Already seeing a bit of a reaction, so keep an eye on that. I mean, that 4-hour candle's still got 3 hours left before it does close, so a lot can happen in that time. But to me, I think that's a nice level. Aussie yen, what we saying? Are we also seeing a rejection there? Yeah, that was just suddenly the momentum just picked up there. I don't know if that's yen coming into play, or is that Aussie New Zealand? Euro JPY. Looks like that one's picking up a little bit. Pound JPY. Okay, pound start to reject that level a little bit more now. Let's take a look at which other yen pair. We can go CAD yen. Not a big fan of CAD yen. Oh, CAD yen does look good though. CAD yen does look good. Again, CAD yen still looking for a push back into support down here. We've respected prior support over here. As you can see, really strong rejection on the daily chart. And if you go to the weekly as well for CAD yen, there's been a lot of wicks. I don't like the fact that we've respected the 200 though. That's a bit awkward. But we have respected the level there pretty well. And last week's candle, the past 2 weeks' candle, they've given us pretty long wicks to the upside. So again, from a weekly standpoint, price has tried to push up a couple times, but still failed a lot. Dropping to the 4-hour chart, we did break through that counter trend line at the start of the week. And looks like price again has pulled back into some price support on the left here. And looks like it's now respecting the resistance. So that could be a bit of a sell there for CAD yen. I'm not as keen on that one, but it does look relatively good. And of course, all the yen pairs do the same thing really. So we might see price kind of push from that regard, but I think GJ looks better. I think Aussie and New Zealand yen look a lot better as well. So I'd rather take those than CAD yen, but perhaps we could be seeing maybe them turn around. Dark strong holy moly, big drops around the board. Now has dropped 60 pips in 1 minute. Ooh, 60 pips in a minute. Damn, that's quick. Yeah. Suddenly the market just started moving there. Now it's looking bearish as well. I wonder if USD is moving. That's pushing downside. What's the DXY saying? Don't know. closed pretty bearish, but that was that happened in the last hourly candle close. That was like 5 minutes ago. It's not moving that much. But yeah, the market seemed to be excited, particularly the yen. Yeah, a bit of a push to the upside there in the yen. Nothing crazy though, nothing crazy, at least on the higher time frames anyway. Yeah, the yen basket still has to go and break resistance here. The yen pairs really want to drop and yen really wants to be strong. We've got to break through resistance. And the past 2 days have tried and they have failed. So it's going to take some momentum for us to do that. And if I have a look at the Swiss yen, what we say in Swiss yen. Swiss yen I do like as well. I like the wicks on the weekly chart. One big wick, second big wick. To me, it looks like price is really struggling. Again, I'm looking for us to smash through support there. I don't think the price action has looked as clean as some of the other yen pairs, but in fairness, it has broken support. It's retested it pretty well. And if we can keep that up, we probably will see a bit of a bearish swing there too. We've kind of broken out this counter trend line, and I do think we can roll over. I was looking for a bigger pullback for Swiss yen, but it looks like we kind of topped out here. Potentially you could see price follow through. Annabelle, what is up? Okay, I will take a look at gold, no problem. I was going to take a look at position. Nas, lucky me, went away for a few men. Dodged the bullet there. Dodged the bullet there. That's the thing about missing trades. You know, sometimes you miss a winner, but sometimes you miss a loser as well. It goes both ways. Okay, so let me take a look at gold, and then I'll go through dollar yen because I haven't gone through that yen pair either. So gold, I spoke about some shorts. Oh my word. Oh, no. I thought my arrow was a move from the market. No, that's just me drawing. So gold, I said some shorts could look good here. Price has come back into an area where we did see a lot of consolidation and a fairly big drop to the downside. Now gold is still very bullish. You know, going short is definitely counter trend, and just generally speaking a bit more risky because the market has just been flying since the start of last year pretty much. But we're in a nice place for a short. And if you are going to take a short for gold, the aim is to keep it short and sweet. Not trying to have any crazy targets because the odds are price is eventually going to find support and go against you. So I think this is a nice place for a short. We did reject it pretty well. Was that last night? Yeah, 3 a.m. Wednesday. That was last night. We came into that area last night. Really strong rejection. However, we held onto this consolidation here and respected another push to the upside. So I think as long as price can hold onto that level again, probably make a similar move. Maybe price is getting ready for a bigger move, but I would definitely lock in gains around here. I think if you can probably enter maybe on the 15-minute chart, maybe if you have another rejection there, that would be nice because the market's still pretty flat. That could be a nice entry there, maybe a nice one-to-one back into the low, lock in gains, and maybe leave some positions to run in case we do drop. Of course, if we do break resistance here, if price does clear this level here and we break through, then I would expect a pretty nice move back into the high. So if you're bullish on gold, looking to buy it, I'd wait for resistance here to crack, and then some buys back into the high look really good, either on the breakout or on a retest, depends how you want to trade that. If you're looking to short, we're in a nice place for it as well. I would wait for a stronger rejection before taking any entries, but it's a nice place for a short, and we've got some targets just below around 31.20. I mean, it could go a lot further. I'm still looking at gold retracing back to the high here. So perhaps the sell could be a start of a much bigger retracement, but you'd rather be safe than sorry when you're shorting gold. Because more often than not, this keeps pushing higher. No problem, Annabelle. Happy to help. Let me go through dollar yen before I forget. So dollar yen, bit of a reaction this morning. Overall, it's been a bit sideways since the drop last week. We found support, pushed up, and the market's just been in this kind of general area since then. Again, though, my only problem with dollar yen, I'm very bearish on the pair. I do expect a pretty big drop for this one. All the way back to 140, so I'm pretty bearish on it. But the only thing I don't like about the pair is that we haven't pulled back that much. We've had a really big drop since December last year, or Jan. We've been falling pretty well. So I've wanted price to have a decent pullback. I like price getting close to the 50. Doesn't have to be exact, but a bit closer than that. We haven't really seen much of a pullback for USD JPY from this bearish move. So I'm not so eager to jump into shorts. The reason why I like pound yen, euro yen a lot better, even CAD yen, that's almost at the 52, is that they've had a much bigger pullback. So I know price is likely to snap in my direction at some point. Dollar yen, it just hasn't pulled back that much. In fairness, there is some levels which we're holding on to. If I map out that resistance there, you can see this was a pretty big level resistance. If I keep dragging that along, you can see we've just about tapped into that area as well. So perhaps we don't need to pull back that much and price is already ready to fall. But me knowing what I like in the market, I like the market to be a bit more stretched than that. So I'm a little bit hesitant to short dollar yen. But in fairness, if we continue to respect the highs here, which so far we're doing pretty well, I do think we're all over. We had a strong break of the counter trend line. Looks like prices come back to retest it, to be honest. Yeah, come back to retest it. As long as we don't break above 150, I do think we'll see that swing to the downside. Some targets back down here look pretty good as well to lock in some gains, but I do think we'll see that swing. Just have to see if the yen will gain that strength. It's going to be interesting because yen does have some resistance to break. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the yen pairs. Just kind of waiting on pound yen and euro yen to get the ball rolling for some shorts for these guys. I did exit my pound yen shorts already, but I can always jump back in. The reason why I did exit is because momentum was going against me. But if it does look good again, then I will look to enter the trade. And of course, I'll keep a firm eye on euro yen as well, but that's got some support it needs to clear first before we do come crashing back down. But yeah, yen pairs, pound yen, euro yen I do like. USD pairs, I like euro USD, pound USD on pullbacks. Dollar CHF does look good if we can break to the upside. I'll wait patiently for that one. Still need to break resistance first, but if we can break, I'm looking at this being a bit of a bottom for this bearish trend. And some upside looks pretty good there, but we need to crack that resistance. And then the USD is looking interesting as well. I've been pretty bearish on this one, looking for us to roll over. We have seen some move, but it didn't last long at all. And now that we kind of pushed up really aggressively, it looks like potentially another high low is formed. And I would be interested with something like this, because that would be a nice place to put a stop loss underneath and potentially capitalize on a swing back to highs, or at least back into 0.575. So the USD has become interesting to me as well. It has become interesting. I'll probably wait for a nice daily candle close to really confirm that momentum, but I do like the look of it. And then in some of the crosses, NZD CAD's been pretty bullish, so I'm going to keep an eye on this one. As I have said, I'm looking to short it. And now we're pushing to the upside. I'm looking for signs of a lower high forming. We've got some nice resistance on the left there as well. If we can see some healthy rejection, I will be looking for some shorts. I'm looking at that being a top and potentially price rolling over. We've had some nice rejection on the weekly chart. Really nice wick to the upside. I'm still looking at this lovely bearish move. Looking at this as a pullback for potentially more downside. So I do have that as a short bias, but we need to see some rejection, and we're coming in pretty hot right now with a lot of momentum. So I need to be cautious. If price does have a strong break of that, perhaps we could go a lot higher as well. I'm not really interested in taking any buys on NZD CAD for now. So being patient there. Aussie CAD as well, looking pretty bullish as we do push the upside. So being cautious there. We're still very much within the range here. But I think NZD CAD looks a lot cleaner, so I'll rather just focus on that one. NZD CAD is just a little bit too choppy for me. I was looking at a lot of the crosses yesterday because it looks like they've had some interesting moves where I think maybe some tops are forming. If we go over to Euro Aussie, for example, this one came crashing down yesterday. That is not Euro Aussie. There we go. This one came crashing down yesterday, and it's printing some interesting weekly candle closures. Now, I know today is Wednesday, and we've still got the rest of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for the weekly candle close. But what I can see is that the market's having a really tough time trying to break past this area here in general. A lot of wicks, a lot of small body candle closures. Previously, we had a massive candle here to the upside, so there's a lot of momentum in the market. Then suddenly, as we hit this price, the market kind of depletes. Dojis, wicks, we're having a lot of trouble. This weekly candle is looking like a bearish shooting star right now. Really exaggerated wick to the upside and a nice bearish candle. But like I said, we've still got 2.5 days left, and for all I know, this could flip bullish in that time, or it could close even stronger to the downside. So a lot can happen, but it does look like price is having a lot of trouble at that resistance level. And again, yesterday's price action, nice push to the upside, and then we came crashing back down as well. So I feel like if you can clear support here, then we've got a very good chance that price will see some downside, will form a bit of a top, and we've got some lovely resistance below us where price most likely will be attracted to. So could be looking at some lower lows and lower highs forming, and another push to the downside. You got one stab over there, there's your low, next lower high, there's your low, next lower high, maybe coming back into resistance there. The setup hasn't really formed yet. All I can see though is that it looks like we're forming a bit of a top, so I'm getting ready for some sells. And the key thing is that I've looked at a lot of the crosses and we're kind of seeing the same thing. If I go to pound Aussie as well, if I go to this one on the weekly chart, again, you can see price is seeing a lot of momentum starting to stall. This week's candle, nice wick to the upside, pulling back already. We're seeing some signs that, again, this could be a bit of a top. Again, you can see that the market's pretty frequent when it does have a bullish move. It does pull back most of the time, and we're seeing signs of that happening right now as well. So again, pound Aussie could be looking at maybe a high forming. Pound Aussie looks a little bit clearer to me in terms of an entry, because if we do something like this, that looks like a nice trade idea. If that is the high, retest it, stop loss above the level. That could be a nice little short there. Again, a bit more of an aggressive trade because the trend's up. So we're trying to take counter trend opportunities here. But again, we've got some healthy signs that tells us a high is likely to form here, which gives us confidence to take the trade. Of course, any trade can fail, which is why we manage risk and why we have stop losses in place. But to me, we're seeing some healthy characteristics that look like, okay, Euro Aussie's forming a high, pound Aussie's forming a high. So go to pound NZD as well. Again, you can see here, price strong push to the upside. We had a minor wick to the upside there a few weeks back. Another wick, a bit of another wick there again. And what do we have this week? Another big wick to the upside. So clearly this is being a strong level of resistance and does give us a good chance to see some more downside here. So again, shorts are starting to look good here. And again, this wick here has done a lot. It has given us a lot of information. Number one, it's respecting resistance. But number two, it's taken out any prior sellers who had had stop losses already above the high. They would be liquidated now, and now potentially the move can happen. So that gives us a bit more confidence about the shorts. So if I drop to the daily chart, this is more or less the resistance we're seeing. If we could see something like this for pound NZD, another push back into resistance again, that could be a nice little short, stops above the high, similar to pound Aussie, and that could be a nice little trade there. Perhaps back into this area here, really strong level, strong break, never came back for a retest. That could be a nice target. or you can keep it relatively simple. You got some lows there to target as well. It just depends how aggressive you want to be as well. And of course, you got your lovely Euro NZD, which is giving us a similar characteristic there too. You can see this is the weekly chart. What we're seeing, really aggressive wicks to the upside. So the only thing to look out for is that these weekly candles still got 2 days and a half left. The rest of the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So like I said, these bullish candles, these bearish candles could flip bullish. We could fill the wicks. We could close stronger. So really, it's something to really take into account on Friday when the weekly candle close, because you can see the candle as it is. And then next week, hopefully there'll be some nice shorts there. So I haven't really been looking to trade the crosses for a while. I've just been monitoring them. But now after these exaggerated wicks, now I think this could be some nice shorts coming our way. So keeping an eye on that. Appreciate that, Blessed Princess. I'm glad you're enjoying the live. If you are enjoying the live, by the way, please be sure to drop a like. It does really help out the stream, helps the channel out. And if you are enjoying it, then dropping a like does help out, and you're enjoying it, so might as well. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of the content, and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams, any uploads in the future. It does already help out the channel, so I do really appreciate that, guys. What's up, Gim? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're good. Welcome. So crosses is something I'm going to keep an eye on out. Like I said, I haven't been looking to trade them for a while, but I like these counter trend opportunities that are forming. Still got a bit of a way to go, but they're getting there. CHF pairs have been a little bit interesting as well. Looks like some CHF weakness has stepped into the market, and we're seeing a lot of bullish moves for the CHF pairs. I've been holding my Aussie CHF trade for a while now. It's coming up to 2 months since I've been in the position. I entered the trade on the 12th of Feb, and of course it's the 2nd of April right now, so 10 more days ish, and it's been about 2 months. But again, I've already taken most of my profit at the low here, so I'm not holding full size. I took about 80% at the low. I'm leaving 20% to run to see if we can get to the wick low here. So that's been the idea of the trade. One of my goals this year is to try to maximize my winners a little bit more by having some slightly longer targets when it makes sense to. And with Aussie CHF, it did make sense because I was shorting in a very, very bearish market in the higher time frames. So if that trend does continue, there's a pretty good chance that we do eventually get back to that wick low, and perhaps that wick low as well. So I've taken most of my profit in an area which we could bounce from. You can see there's a lot of support here. So that's where I did take my profit from, just in case we did turn around. But I'm leaving a bit of positions on the table to see if they can go get me some extra pips. And I do have my stop loss trail just above the high here. So if price does push up against me, I'll be trailed out, and we'll call it a day on that position. But yeah, we have seen some bullish moves. You can see Aussie CHF, pretty strong move to the upside there the past day or two. New Zealand CHF, same situation. Of course, Aussie and NZD have gained strength, so that's kind of been a bit of a factor. This one came back into support and held it pretty well. If I take a look at pound CHF, which is, I think, probably the choppiest pair on the market right now. This is a horrendous pair, but again, this one looking a little bit bullish this morning. Breaking resistance there as well. We broke resistance a while ago, but we're holding it as support right now. And perhaps you could be looking at some new highs past 1.149. I wouldn't be looking to trade this one. I did notice the retest there on several occasions, but I've just stayed away because it's just way too choppy. And I'll let price do what it wants to do. If it wants to go take up the high, go and do that. But I'm not going to be participating in that. And then, of course, you got your lovely CAD Swiss, which we did see a bit of a reaction off this level from, but I was never really convinced about a big short because where CAD CHF is trading, and the fact that we just spiked through the lows here as well, which are all-time lows. So we created new all-time lows. If I zoom out to the weekly chart and just see what the market's been doing since the beginning of time itself, has been falling pretty much, well, at least since 1982. So every time the market does create a new all-time low, it does normally push back up. So after we create all-time low, you don't really want to be selling, or at least not for a long time. At least not for a long-term trade, because the market does normally retrace. So after we did spike the low, I've been looking for a bigger move for CAD CHF. We do have this level to break, but I do think price is probably going to go and do that, which is why I haven't really been looking to short from it. It's a decent level with respect to the numerous occasions, so there was a good chance we'll react with it, and we did see a nice reaction, but I do think that reaction's kind of run out of steam a little bit. And of course, you got your Euro CHF, which is actually doing not bad. I know a couple people holding some longs on this position here. Price has done a lovely break and retest of that per hour high at 0.951. Lovely resistance there a couple times. We broke through support once previously. It looks like we're holding it again. If it does hold successfully, then you're looking at a push back to the high at 0.964. If I drop to the 4-hour chart, you can see overall we're starting to form some higher lows, and it looks like price is picking up steam. We still got this high to contend with though. I feel like if Euro CHF can break through that, then you're looking good back to the high. If we do run into a bit of trouble, we might come back down into support again. Euro CHF, after all, is a very choppy pair, so it can go back and forth quite a lot. Okay, helped your binary trading. Got some good entries on the retracement. Okay, nice. Yeah, I mean, let me have a look. Has it? Okay, we haven't really pushed too much. Is Aussie yen still dancing, or have we found? No, it's had the strong reaction, but still looking pretty bearish. New Zealand yen as well. So I do think there could be some nice shorts there for Aussie yen and New Zealand yen. I'm more focused on pound and euro, so I think I'll wait for those markets to set before jumping in. But if rejection can continue, I think this is a really nice place for a short. I do really think this is a nice place for a short where we can really turn around. In terms of Aussie New Zealand dollar, I've been keeping an eye on this position because I've been debating about potentially looking for some entries, but I decided I'm going to stay away. There's been some really nice rejection there, so that was tempting me to take a position. The reason why I'm staying away is just because in general it's a very choppy pair and there's not a lot of pips with Aussie New Zealand dollar, so I'm just going to wait for 1 minute time frame, 1 minute expiration time. Okay, how long do you hold your binary trade for, Darkshon? Because I know Nick does some binary trading as well, but I don't think he's on the low time frames. Like, okay, 1 minute. Wow, so very fast paced then. So the trade expires at 1 minute and that's you done. I think Nick does. I'm pretty sure he holds it for a few days. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, 1 minute, that's fast paced, man. But yeah, in terms of the 4-hour chart here on the Aussie New Zealand dollar, actually no, daily chart, we've seen some really healthy wicks, and if price can respect this area, then I'm looking at a push back into the low here. It was a nice close on the 4-hour chart as well this morning. And looking at the weekly chart as well, weekly chart looks like it's holding support too. So if that continues, then I would expect price to to continue falling. Risk to reward is not particularly great because if I did enter on this candle here, stops kind of have to be above the high there, and then your take profit is about just above a 1-to-1, which is nothing wrong with a 1-to-1, especially if the win rate is pretty good. But I do like slightly bigger than that. Although sometimes if the setup's really good, I might go for like a 1-to-1.5 if the setup looks really, really good. But mostly I normally look for setups 1-to-2 at least or more. But yeah, risk reward not particularly great, but it does look like healthy rejection. And as long as price doesn't take out that wick high, I do expect us to push into the low. So stops above there would make a lot of sense. But I think I'll save my bullets for the end pairs for now. A quick look at the news for the rest of the week. I know we've got NFP on Friday. Okay, so we've got the tariff announcement at 9 o'clock today. Okay, so it's right at the end of the day then. So, I mean, potentially you might not see much movement. We might not see much movement between now and then, especially USD wise. And then maybe tomorrow or Asian session, we're going to see a lot of movement. So how it works, it's a bet that from the moment of my entry price will go up or down. If I win, I take 92% profit on the balance that I bet on. Okay. For example, if I bet $1, I get in return 1.92. So, okay. If I lose, the $1 is gone. Okay, I get it. So in that 1 minute time is when that bet will expire. So by the time of that expiration, that's when it will judge the trade, if it's successful or not. Okay, that makes sense. How come it's 92%? Is that to do with like fees and stuff? Is that 92% like in general, or is that like, does it differ from platform and the market you're trading? So I've never traded binary before. Never even looked into it. I just know Nick sometimes trade binary as well. Okay, pound yen's still doing a pretty good job at holding resistance there. Okay, we're picking up momentum now. Okay, so if pound yen gives me a strong reaction, I may look to jump back into the position on a good close here. I know we've got support below us, but I'll probably would just reduce my risk and see how that position goes. Doing a pretty good job at holding the high. We did end up holding that little range there. So yeah, I'll wait to see how the next 4 hour candle close. If it closes good, I may look to take a smaller position. The reason why I'm not going to go full risk is Japeway basket still got resistance above us there. So I'm basically betting that the yen's going to break that level, which is something I don't normally like to do. I'd rather price be above the level and then betting price continuing above it rather than breaking through, because at the end of the day, I'm kind of buying to resistance there. So I'm going to reduce the risk. And then hopefully, if the yen basket does break through, I'll look for some re-entries and then add the remainder of what I didn't risk with the original position. I'll probably just go with half and then add half on later. So yeah, I probably will end up doing that. But it needs to be a strong rejection for pound yen. So far, there's not really much of one, but we still got 2.5 hours left. So a lot of trading to do before that 4-hour candle closes. Okay, it's different broker to broker and currency pairs. I'm always looking for the best percentage. Okay, makes sense. Okay, so that's something you've got to factor in as well. The percentage of the profit or of your balance you're keeping. Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the aspect of the expiration time, because all you're saying is that you just have to have got the bet correctly in terms of the direction. So I do like that. Gold dropping. Is gold dropping? Okay, we are seeing a bit of downside now. How are we looking on the 15? Oh, we are looking a bit bearish there. So it looks like price is finding resistance there at that 31, 35 area. That consolidation on the left, really strong drop there a couple days back. Wait, no, I don't know why I said a couple days back. That's the first there, so that was yesterday. It's because I'm used to looking at the 4-hour chart, so when I see price action here on the left, I'm normally thinking like that's of last week. But no, that was actually yesterday. So a really strong drop there. We tapped into it last night and then we're back there again. It looks like price is respecting. I did say this is a nice place to short, but watch out for this area here. Of course, we could break through. It might be the catalyst for a much bigger retracement for gold. But be prepared for price to potentially find support here and turn against you. The market's still bullish. Counter trend setups can be a great way to make profit, especially when the market's pretty stretched. We're seeing some healthy signals that the market's about to turn, like we're seeing with the crosses. But you always got to take into consideration that you're against the flow of the market. So the moment you see some heavy rejection against you, either look to try and manage that trade, lock in gains, partials, trail stop loss, or even get out the position entirely. I think for gold, that's probably a smart move to make, because gold has not messed around at all with the buys. So yeah, the push to this level looks pretty good. Then we can see what price does from there on afterwards. Yeah, you can see there we had a brief pause, really strong move down, tap back into that level. This could be a continuation, so there is that downside potential. And on the other side, if you do break the resistance, then you're looking at push back to the high. No problem, happy to help. I would say the only thing with gold is just that the risk reward probably isn't great. I mean, depends on the entry you get in, but you just got support right below you there. So there's not of room to maneuver in. So that's the only downside I would say, but I would say it's a nice opportunity. How is silver looking? Okay, silver's starting to struggle as well. So I do like silver buys still, but I'm kind of looking to see if we can come back to retest the high there. That would be very, very nice indeed. I'm still looking for us to push back into the swing high just below 35. But silver has trailed me out my position, so I'm looking to see if I can get back in. I'm still very bullish on silver. But hopefully we come down one more time, spike into 33.2, sorry. Then hopefully find some longs there. But silver's not looking too hot either, seeing some downside. Is the dollar moving yet? Oh, dollar's pushing up. Again, not going to get too excited because we're stuck in a very tough area. We've got support below us, we've got supply above us. price needs to really commit, and I feel like we're probably waiting for a news announcement for that. We've got the tariff announcement later today. We've got NFP on Friday. Those are two events I'm looking at as potentially a catalyst to break us out of this noise. If not today, then hopefully Friday. We kind of see price pick a direction and start moving. So although, yes, nice little rejection in the lower time frames, it could just be a situation where we push back into resistance to come right back down again. So I'm not going to look too much into that bullish candle there. Just like we had that strong bearish candle, didn't really amount to much either. Even this big one as well, found support, turned around. That's one trap that is easy to fall in. When the market's ranging and you see a big candle in the range, don't look to get swept into believing that momentum. You know, wait for price to actually clear support, clear resistance, break out of the range. Then you can look to follow momentum there. Whether you're looking at breakouts or retests, but at least you can trust that a little bit more than just a big candle in the range, because we can come straight back down. So yeah, going to keep an eye on that for the dollar. But to be honest, the only dollar pair which I think there's an opportunity close to forming is dollar CHF longs. A break of that resistance and we could be in business. What's up, Alex? Good morning. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. So yeah, dollar CHF longs look good. So in terms of my watch list, I'll probably say dollar CHF longs, NZD USD longs probably added today with that movement, but I'll probably wait for a close to really be sure of that on daily chart. I mean, pound yen shorts. Looking to see if I can jump back into this one, this time with a better stop loss as well. So that's been a bit of a positive with exiting my original position, because my original position, my stops were all the way above here. So again, the risk to reward for a push back into support was still like a 1 to 2, at least a little bit more than that. So I wasn't too annoyed at that, because I can still double my risk there. So I'm still happy with that opportunity. But if I do enter a trade here, you know, if I can get some stops just above the high like so, you know, I could look to get that 1 to 2 and double it into a 1 to 4 at least, probably 1 to 5 almost. So much better risk to reward with the new position. But like I said, I'll probably go half risk just because the support below us. I like the fact that we've come back to respect it. So I'm going to go half risk, and then if things go well, hopefully add the rest on a retest, or doesn't necessarily have to be a retest of this level, but a retest somewhere if things look good. And the reason why I like pound yen as well is because my long-term bias, where I think price can get to, is all the way down there. So I'll probably lock in most of my profits at the low here, because this has proven to be a very sturdy level of support. If I drag it across, you can see we've tested it numerous times. So lock in a lot of my gains, probably 80% of my gains there. But I will trail the remainder to run back to the low here. And you're looking at about 1,100, 1,200 pip move there back to the lows. Of course, I wouldn't be holding full position, but you know, small positions can definitely add up there, and that could be extra 2R, or even 3R potentially. Actually, not 3R, probably 1 to 2R you're looking at for that move there. So yeah, the possibility for a big move is pretty high there for pound yen. So that's why I like the trade a lot. But again, I'm not looking to hold full size all the way down there. It would be a very nice trade if I did, but again, probability would be against me. So we'll see. We still will get a decent close on the 4-hour chart. We still got 2 hours to go ish, so a lot can happen. Potentially this candle can pull back up and breakthrough, which of course would then really put me off the trade. But we'll have to wait and see. Take a look at oil. So yeah, oil, I had a look at this one earlier. It looks to me like it's in some nice resistance. And I do think we can see some downside here. I measured this level on the weekly chart actually to get some clarity, because we had some really nice support down here. Since then, oil has tapped into support. We've seen a nice push to the upside. We've now come back into resistance on our left here. So this is a nice place for potentially a bit of a bounce. I'm not necessarily looking for anything crazy here for oil. We could head towards support again, but at least expect a bit of a reaction, because I keep trying to say silver. What oil is doing, there we go, it's just squeezing between the trend line and support. So it's going to eventually pick a direction and break out pretty soon, or at some point, not necessarily soon. It will break out at one point. So it's just basically bouncing between levels of resistance and support. Now we've come back into another one. We've seen some healthy rejection down the 4-hour chart as well. I do think price can at least come back and retest the range here. This is where a lot of momentum came from. I think that's a nice place for a short. I did say it would be nice if price can push one more time to the upside, potentially double top at the high there and then sell. I know it's looking pretty bearish at the moment, but you kind of already want to be in the trade. If you're taking advantage of the move now, you don't want to be entering now, because your stop loss won't be, your risk reward won't be looking particularly great. So it would be nice if oil can push one more time to the upside, find some entries, and then take the short. I'm not too sure if I'll look to go long from here. It's in the middle of nowhere a little bit. So, yeah, I wouldn't really be so optimistic about the buys. Might see a bit of a reaction naturally, but I don't think it'll be an area which I want to look for a big swing. Maybe it gives us a push back into resistance, but that's about it from that level I will be expecting. So yeah, oil downside looks good. Back to 69.97 roughly. It's bleeding right now, but if we can pull back up, it could be some nice entry maybe later this afternoon or maybe tomorrow sometime. And you got some nice shorts to look. And we had a really strong breakout of this level. And as you can see, price didn't come back to retest it. Even on the hourly chart, clean break, no retest. So I think we're likely to push there. And if oil is falling, that means CAD is falling. So that means CAD's going to be relatively weak right now. How is New Zealand CAD doing? Still looking very strong. I have to keep an eye on this level. An eye on this pair as well. I am looking to expect a lower high, but looking very bullish right now and not really giving me the retracement vibes. We have a very strong wick to the downside here, and now we're seeing a lot of momentum from that. That's not really characteristic which I would like to see in terms of a pullback. This is more of a characteristic of a higher low, so I have to be very cautious about jumping to shorts right now. But things develop well over the next day or two. If things look good, I'll take the short. If also things don't look good, then I won't take the short. But we're in a nice level for it, and again, my expectation, didn't mean to do that. My expectation with New Zealand CAD is that from a weekly perspective, we've put the lower high in. So we had the original, high, higher low, higher high. Then we broke structure of a lower low. Now I'm looking at the first lower high of this move and potentially a sell. So if that is going to be the lower high, then you're expecting a bit of a bearish trend to form here. So now I'm looking for a lower high to form and a continuation. But like I said, this looks like a higher low forming to me. So I'm going to have to be patient, look for some really strong rejection before I do jump back in. What's the best charts we should look for an entry? Any chart is a good chart for an entry. Depends on the move you're looking to take. I sometimes enter on the hourly chart, most of my entries in the 4 hour, sometimes enter on the 8 hour, sometimes even enter on the daily. It just depends on the situation, depends on the market, depends on the move I'm looking for, how many pips I'm looking for. And in terms of price action as well, sometimes it's better to drop a little bit lower to get a bit more information and enter lower. Sometimes the lower time frames are a bit noisy and the higher time frames give a bit more clarity and a nice place for a stop loss. There is no one or set of best charts to use for entries. Every time frame gives you a bit of information and can provide some opportunities. The key thing is just to know what defines an entry for you. For me, it's just rejection of support and resistance. Of course, I look at a lot of other confluences. I look at multiple time frames, direction, market structure. Those kind of develop the trade for me in terms of direction and what I'm expecting the market to do. But if I see a good rejection of support or good rejection of resistance, that's what I'm looking for as an entry. And most of my entries are on the 4 hour time frame, but I can also use the hourly, I can also use the 8 hour, I can also use the daily as well for my entries. And of course, some people like to drop a lot lower. I do think with the low time frames though, if you're looking for entry in the low time frames, you do have to take into account session timing. On the time frames I use, session timing isn't really a thing. So it's just pure price action really with candlestick patterns and candlestick formations. If you're going to drop below the hourly chart, you have to be a bit aware of session timings and probably how markets move in relation to a session, because there are a lot of fake outs, a lot of manipulation, and a lot of just frequent moves in the lower time frames. So being aware of session timings and not entering out of session, because that's where you can see the market kind of consolidate and not really do too much, kind of wasting your time a little bit there. So you have to be a bit aware of session timings, but on the 4 hour chart, sessions are not really a thing, to be honest. Or at least you don't really notice it as much. So yeah, that's the only thing about lower time frames. Great for entries as well, really refining entries and having tight stop losses, but make sure you're entering within session. And if you look at the higher time frames, don't have to be too aware of that. But any time frame is good for entries, really. Again, it's just about nailing what your entry technique's going to be, what your triggers are, where you're going to enter. You need to get that down and sorted. But you can make great trades on any chart. So yeah, and depends on the chart itself, because sometimes it doesn't make sense to enter on a time frame. Maybe it makes sense to scale up to one time frame as well. If I have some examples, I will show you because it's very, very unique. But yeah, to answer your question, there is no best set, which I know doesn't really help much, but it is the truth. There is no best set. You just need to practice your entries, practice your reasoning for entering, and that's going to give you your entries. In terms of what time frame, you're just going to have to get used to them. But anyway, so how is pound yen doing at that level? Okay, pulling back. I mean, still got 2 hours, so I'm not really too concerned with the price action just yet. Euro yen looking a little bit bearish. JPY basket. So yeah, we're still coming to resistance, so I have to be a bit cautious of that, even though I'm expecting price to break through. There's of course that chance we do not, and we roll over, so maybe be careful of that. Dollar CHF longs, New Zealand CAD shorts. These are the pairs on my watch list, New Zealand CAD shorts. And then probably as the week progresses, I'll probably look to add pound Aussie shorts as well, as I mentioned earlier. The crosses do look pretty good. I do think, looking at the weekly chart, looks like price is starting to form a bit of a top there. I know the weekly candle's still got quite long to go, so which is why I'm kind of waiting for the week to progress first. Maybe by Friday, if things still look good, I'll add it on. Euro Aussie looks really good as well. Nice work to the upside. Altogether, resistance is holding very well in this area. So I do think we can roll over too. So I'll wait for the weekly candle to progress a little bit further before I do really add it to the watch list. Don't really have a setup on the 4-hour chart either. I think only pound Aussie and pound NZD are giving me some good setups on the 4-hour chart, which would be something like this. Retest at the high, then a short. Pound NZD as well. As we can see, really nice wicks. To the upside there, especially this week's candle. So I do think we can roll over. But I'll wait for the week to close, because we could still have a pretty big move to the upside by Friday, especially with some big news announcements this week. And that big wick on the weekly chart could fill, and that analysis goes to the bin. So I'll wait for us to kind of progress a little bit further first before I do lock in anything. But yeah, pretty bearish on some of the crosses there for some nice counter trend plays. So I'll look to add those to the watch list later on. In terms of CAD pairs, New Zealand CAD, Aussie CAD look good. Euro CAD and Pound CAD I haven't really spoken about, but I'm not as interested with these guys, even though we have seen some nice moves, especially yesterday. Price did come back into that level. Really nice respect of that area. Nice sell. GB CAD as well. Nice short to the downside, although didn't really amount to much. I said this looks like a nice pitch for a short. We did just about break through, so didn't really respect it that well, but market's not perfect. We did eventually roll over and we pushed down. Wow, Pound CAD is really pushing up. Is EuroCAD looking as bullish? No, it looks like Pound is a lot stronger than Euro right now. How's GBP USD doing? That's pulled back a lot. I think the USD is gaining some strength there too, but yeah, it looks like Pound is a lot stronger. I think Euro Pound will be a good measure of that. Yep, pushing to the downside there. Not crazy fashion, but is looking a little bit bearish. But yeah, other CAD pairs I'm not really too interested in, to be honest, kind of waiting for them to develop. How's Aussie Yen and New Zealand Yen doing from that level? Yep, still holding. So yeah, if we can hold this level here at 94.5 and New Zealand Yen at 86, I do think that's a nice area for a lower high to form. We've got those two previous highs in there, 1 and 2, looking for a third. We may still spike higher. We might not be done with the high just yet, so I'll be careful about just jumping straight in. But I feel like we're in a nice place for a high to fall and a push back down, particularly New Zealand Yen. You can see we've been hugging the end of this channel very well, and we've done that a couple of occasions there too. So as long as price doesn't suddenly break out the channel, we are looking at price rolling over back into support and eventually taking out that wick low there as well. So I do have some some targets to the downside there, and I think we're trading a nice area. So keep an eye for some shorts. But like I said, I'm just going to focus on pound yen and euro yen for myself. Especially because if I'm looking to short pound NZD and pound Aussie as well, that tells me that pound is likely to be weaker than NZD and Aussie. Therefore, pound yen will probably give me some harder sells than New Zealand and Aussie, if I'm right about those sells. So that's another reason why I'll stay with that. Oh, did not mean to do that. Sorry if I blinded anyone. I actually clicked a button on my keyboard there. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the yen. But again, really just going to see what happens with the news tonight, to be honest. Don't have any USD pairs. The only trade I'm in is Aussie CHF, and I've only got small positions running, so my risk is not very much. Exposed to the markets right now. I've had a few trades over the past few weeks, but Aussie CHF, small positions, should be okay with that. Then hopefully you can jump to some new positions later in the week. But for now, just going to see what happens with the news. Keep an eye on pound yen. If I do get a trade opportunity in pound yen, I'll let you guys know on the Telegram. So make sure you're there. Link in the description to that. But I need a decent close off the rejection here. So far, not much, but we still got 2 hours left, so things can change. And then if euro yen can break support here, I'll probably look to get into this one as well. Really take advantage of the yen pairs. A bit aggressive, jumping into 2 yen pairs, but if things look good, I'll get into this one as well. But we still got support below us, so I'll watch out for that. But anyway, guys, we have come to the end of the stream. If you have found it useful, please be sure to smash the like button. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel if you have enjoyed it. Make sure you do hit the bell as well so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Check out the Telegram channel. I will post my trades there as well, so check that out. Also, check out the Discord channel. I share my ideas, updates there regarding elevating traders. Join the community. Other people share ideas there too. So if you do want to join in, share your own ideas, see what other people are trading, check it out. Link in the description to that. It's also at the top of the chat. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. I will be live again tomorrow, same time as always, 10 a.m. UK time. I know the clocks have changed, so it's been a bit awkward, but 10 a.m. UK time to 12 p.m. UK time is when I do go live every weekday. So if you are free, tune in, say hi, come and chat with us. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day, and I'll catch you all tomorrow.